Show your hands up and feel the music. Let me hear you say.
MaxB was born Charlie Wingate in May of 1978. He grew up in Harlem, New York, and actually stayed in the same apartment building as Cameron, a few floors beneath him. This makes his later ties to Dipset almost feel like destiny. Before the world even knew him as MaxB, Harlem knew him as Charlie Rambo, a wild kid who was constantly in the streets, getting into trouble and living fast. His early years were very rough. His mother battled addiction for much of her life and even served time in prison because of it. That left Max to be raised primarily by his grandparents. His grandmother was the opposite of the chaos around him. Strict, deeply religious, and full of faith. She kept gospel music playing around the house and instilled discipline and spirituality in him. This environment planted the seeds of his musical ability. As a kid, MaxB sang in the boys' choir of Harlem, showing early glimpses of the soulful voice that would later define his sound. Music became even more personal for Max through his older brother, Eric, who he always described as the cool one. When I was staying with my grandmother back in like 87-ish, 88, he used to go in and out of town. He was into music real heavy, and the last time he left me a big sack of cassette tapes, and on these tapes were everything, all the DJs. This was back when cassette tapes were like 120 minutes, and Kid Capri and Star Child and Brucey B used to make all the mixtapes, and they used to put all the old music together, all the Frankie Beverly and Mays and Luther Vandross, all the great artists. They used to mix them up and blend beats and put them together. Sadly, Max's brother Eric died in Baltimore in 1991 at the age of 16, so a big rest in peace goes out to Eric because I couldn't imagine what losing a brother felt like to Max. Despite the guidance from Max's grandmother, Max was still involved in the streets. By 17, Max had gotten into serious trouble and was sentenced to 8 years for robbery. He entered prison as Charlie Wingate and came out as MaxB. While locked up, he started reflecting on his life. In interviews, he has said that he would look at himself in the mirror and realize he could not go back to the corner. He wanted to become something greater, something larger than life. That's where the persona of MaxB was born. The name came from Max Biggaveli, Biggie Smalls, Big, Jay-Z, Jigga, and Tupac Machiavelli. MaxB has said Max Biggaveli is Biggie's smoothness, Jigga's flash, and Machiavelli's rebellion, all in one. After serving 8 years in prison, MaxB came home around the early 2000s determined to focus on music. A friend brought him to the studio, and the moment he got in the booth, everyone knew he had something special. But just as things started moving, he got hit with another setback. Max was arrested again on a parole violation. He spent about 10 months back inside. In interviews about this time in his life, Max said that he needed this because he wasn't ready due to being heavily distracted. Before going in for 10 months, he reached out to his childhood friend, Cameron, because he wanted to go all in with music after he got out.
He said, yo, Flea, you know how to rap now, let's get this shit clicking like Dorothy's heels. I said, yo, I laugh like that because I couldn't take him seriously. Because this is my man, he from my building. I'm like, you rap now, Max? I mean, Charlie, he like, yeah, my name is Biggaveli. I said, Biggaveli? I couldn't really take Max serious because I didn't see the potential because, you know, I'm not God. I don't always catch every artist and be like, oh, how you miss this nigga? I just didn't see it because I fuck with him. And I didn't hear him rap at that time. I never heard him rap. So I guess Jim some type of way got with Max. I don't know how Mike Bruno got with Jim and they got together. So Jim called me like, yo, I'm gonna fuck with MaxB. And I was like, yo, go ahead, do your thing. I didn't know it would be this type of situation. I'm just being totally honest. I didn't know.
The other contacts MaxB had was with Mike Bruno and Jim Jones, who was a part of Dipset with Cameron. Max came home in January of 2005. By the summer, he was down with Jim Jones and his Bird Gang label. According to him, he received a 6-figure advance and started working on records like Confront Your Babe, Baby Girl, and G's Up.
Make a pump crack, ride shotgun in the 8 slump back. Max leave the streets, please, they don't want that.
All of these records ended up on Jim Jones's sophomore album, Harlem, Diary of a Summer, which was released in August of 2005. It peaked at number 5 on the Billboard 200, selling 74,000 copies in its first week. MaxB's smooth singing, melodic hooks, and wavy delivery gave Jim's sound a new edge. Soon after, Max was featured on Cameron's diss track against Jay-Z, You Gotta Love It, and in that same year, he released his own debut mixtape, $1 Million Baby, in 2006.
Climb on top and make love to me. I make you delirious. Yo, she let me in the palm of my hand.
This was also the year that Jim Jones Presents M.O.B. Members of Bird Gang was released. Everything was lining up for MaxB until September of 2006. This is when MaxB was arrested in connection to a botched robbery in Fort Lee, New Jersey that ended with a man dead. The case involved his on-again, off-again girlfriend and Max's stepbrother, and it would hang over him for years. I'm not going to go too in-depth about the case in this video. What I will say is that Max was not there when the robbery went down, but prosecutors argued that he planned and directed the setup, making him legally responsible for what happened. While Max sat in jail awaiting trial, Jim Jones's single We Fly High exploded. It was released in October of 2006. It peaked at number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100, and the ballin' dance became a cultural moment. MaxB appears in the music video, and soon rumors started flying that Max had written or co-written the record. Jim Jones has vehemently denied this, but to this day, fans still debate who really came up with the hit. Besides We Fly High, there's rumors that MaxB and fellow Bird Gang member Stack Bundles wrote material for Jim Jones, but this is also something that Jim Jones denies. Why would you even ask me that? MaxB never wrote 1 ounce of my music, nor has Stack Bundles, nor has Cam, nor has anybody in my whole life. You can't allude to what you hear out there if you don't know it for sure. Nobody writes my music at all. If you really want to know, I have ghostwritten a lot of music for a lot of other people, including the name you just said. If you really want to get technical, but that's neither here nor there. When Jim Jones released his 3rd album, Hustlers POME, in November of 2006, MaxB was all over this project. He appears on 7 out of the 20 tracks on it. By 2007, MaxB was out on $1.5 million bail, which he said he scraped together by selling his publishing rights.
My manager, my current manager now, her name's Jalay Moore. She bailed me out.
How much was your bail?
It was 1.5, but then when we came up with it, they made us go back in and put up another joint, so it really came out to $2 million.
Okay.
But it was 1.5.
So where was Jim?
It was $2 million. It was $2 million of property, and then I needed like 10% cash of that. So we came up with like 6% cash of that. Mm-hmm. That's what Jim came in. But he didn't pay. That wasn't his cash. Like I had to give up songs for that cash in exchange.
Well, wait a minute.
So what was the video with him counting the money, saying he was about to
That was the 10% worth cash he was coming to get me with. I know you don't think he was counting $2 million. It's not right there with no money machine, like right there before he was. It looked like juicy like that, but that's how he make it look like it's extra. But you know.
Are you cool with him? Are you cool with him?
No.
How they go
I
from?
wouldn't say
How
that.
they go from sweet to sour so quick though?
Cause dudes don't care about me. Dudes want me to work for free, and I got responsibilities. Like, I'm 30 years old, you know what I'm saying? I got a son, like, I need money too. Like, dudes want me to work for free, you know, dudes got accustomed to that, you know what I'm saying? When I came home, I had a little buzz. Dudes like, yo, Max, man, what's up? Like, you gonna go back to working for this?
How long were you in jail?
On this one?
Yeah.
But the success of We Fly High changed the dynamic between him and Jim Jones. Max felt underappreciated and underpaid, claiming he was only getting $300 a show while helping write and perform Jim and Bird Gang's biggest songs. They was under this impression, I think they all adopted this from Cameron, they were all into this impression that the new guys must pay the dues and they don't deserve this, and when they go out on a show, they only get $300. I'm like, what the F? Are you effing kidding me? I'm like, number one, I do all the effing records around here. Number two, all the records we producing in the studio, these are effing singles you putting out, radio spins. Where's my stuff? Why when I go perform at a show and you making excess amount of dollars, you making 10, 15 grand? How the F is you giving me $300? I'm doing 8, 9 effing songs. I'm out here sweating too. When you got drama and beef in different cities and MFers is throwing chairs on the stage, they throwing that ish at me too. I want money. This is what all the beef starts stemming from. I always needed money. I'm like, I need money. I can't live off $300. Nah, man, you gotta pay me accordingly, or let me make my own money. Let me get my own manager or assistant. Let me book my own stuff.
I'm the cheese on the text, choke, strap me screaming, I'm so high, I'm so high.
Max felt that Jim Jones was trying to hold him back, while Jim reportedly saw Max as unpredictable and difficult to manage. Then tragedy hit when Stack Bundles was taken out in his neighborhood of Far Rockaway, Queens in 2007. Max took the loss hard. He believed Bird Gang could have been the next G Unit or D Block if egos had not gotten in the way. By 2008, MaxB officially left Bird Gang and began working with French Montana, who was running the Cocaine City DVD series at the time. French said aligning with Max gave him credibility and reach because MaxB was the hottest in the streets. That same year, MaxB launched his own collective, Gain Green. This is also the year that Max adopted the strategy of literally flooding the streets with music. He dropped about 9 projects in total, and that's not counting how many features he did. He also signed a 3-album deal with Amalgam Digital. When the deal was announced, the beef between Jim Jones and MaxB got extremely personal. Max alleged that Jim Jones' longtime girlfriend Chrissy, quote-unquote, touched it in Miami.
Shout out to Chrissy, I love you, baby. She touched it in Miami.
This made the beef between Jim Jones and Max extremely personal, as MaxB dissed the couple pretty much any chance he got, accusing Chrissy of infidelity.
Miami, she touched it in Miami. Told me an opium, she love it in her fanny.
Another point of contention in their beef is that MaxB clowned Jim Jones for not having as much success with Bird Gang after he left. MaxB and French Montana hilariously clowned their 2008 album only selling 16,000 copies in its first week.
That shit went treadmill. Doing the whole treadmill. 16,000 the first week. Shit went nowhere fast.
Max also felt that Jim tried to replicate his style in his music. One song that a lot of people point to, which has gained a lot of traction the past year due to becoming sort of a meme, is the song More Than a Hustler.
Can't tell me about no hustler, I'm stunting on these bras.
But MaxB was really in an awful position because though he left Bird Gang, Jim Jones still owned his publishing. MaxiPad, he's like Finding Nemo right now. Where is that stuff? Actually, he is on the shelf right now, next to my Nike boots. We ain't never letting him come out. This furthers the accusations that Jim Jones was blackballing MaxB. But back to Max's deal with Amalgam Digital, and after this deal was brought to light, MaxB would be prevented by Jim Jones's legal team for making any commercial releases of Max's music, meaning that MaxB basically could not drop an album. But this did not stop Max. He kept flooding the streets with tapes. His voice, his slang, his laugh, and his wave made him one of the most original personalities in hip-hop. Then came 2009, the year that everything caught up. He dropped the now classic Coke Wave with French Montana, one of my favorite mixtapes of all time.
Yeah, I'm in the ghetto every day, and ever since this little beef, I told that man every day.
MaxB was also way ahead of his time with his mixtape Quarantine, which also came out this year as well. But in June, everything caught up to Max. He was found guilty on 9 of 11 counts in his case. In September of 2009, he was sentenced to 75 years in prison.
When at first I caught you creeping, wasn't even sleeping, she hit the speaker and bleeped them, peeped them.
Earlier, I mentioned how the beef between Max and Jim started over monetary issues. There's some belief by fans that the case that Max caught could have been prevented if he was paid more.
Jim never put no artists out. Jim has never put an artist out. I got all the artists. I got all the talent. I was in the street recruiting all these rappers. Jim ended up getting some rappers, and what he did was use them for his album instead of putting them out. MaxB may not be in jail if you put his album out. Or Stack Bundles might have got out of Far Rock if we had an album out. Jim never put these people album out, you know what I'm saying?
Even behind bars, MaxB did not fade away. In 2010, a judge ruled that Jim Jones no longer had rights to his music, allowing MaxB to release his long-awaited debut album, Vigilante Season, in 2011.
Yeah, the vigilante season is here, so buckle up. The Milli Vanilli killer, Chrissy, buckle up.
MaxB said that before their fallout, he had given Jim Jones 10 albums worth of material. From prison, MaxB stayed connected to fans and the culture. He dropped tons of music from behind bars and did numerous interviews updating fans on the status of his case. In 2016, after years of appeals, his sentence was reduced to 12 years following a plea deal for aggravated manslaughter. During those years, artists continued to honor his influence. French Montana kept his name alive, putting him on albums, shouting him out in interviews, and even collaborating with Kanye West, who featured Max on The Life of Pablo with the Silver Surfer intermission. But there have been other artists that have had MaxB on their albums, mixtapes, etc. But as of the time I'm releasing this video, MaxB is expected or has already come home. Many believe he still has the charisma, humor, and creative spark to make a strong comeback. Max and Jim have had a rocky relationship even while Max has been behind bars. Recently, MaxB has said that once he's released, he wants to start over. He took no issue when French Montana and Jim Jones resolved their beef in 2021. Jim Jones has recently spoken about MaxB being released and whether they can solve their issues. It remains unclear if he'll put their past differences aside. All in all, this pretty much wraps up the video. Let me know what you guys want to see next in the comment section below. I love you guys with all my heart. We out. Ow.